everyone. Welcome to another edition of Where the 99 Lead. It's a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville, where we discuss many different subjects and topics surrounding the U-Pike campus and community. We talk the Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine, Kentucky College of Optometry, the new Health Sciences building. Of course, we talk about the Coleman College of Business, the Patton College of Education, many different academic programs, athletic programs, and today, one of our favorites for those of us in the communication business, the communication major at the University of Pikeville. Associate Professor of Communication, Chandra Massner, joins us. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Good to have you here, and we've got some things to talk about. You've been busy.
Very busy.
And communication continues to be one of the most popular majors on campus. We'll talk about that, but first, for those that are tuned in that don't know Chandra Massner, let's have a little background. Tell us a little about yourself.
Well, I've been here at the university for more than 20 years now, and I helped establish the communication major that we have. Before that, I lived all over the country. I was born in Texas. I call Cincinnati home. I lived in Georgia. I went to high school in California. I lived in Kentucky, Alabama, Louisiana, Canada for a year, and I've been here now for more than 20 years. So Pikeville now it is really my home.
All of these places you've been, you still call Cincinnati home. Go Reds.
Go Reds.
You've been to Georgia. You know what boiled peanuts are, but you settled at U-Pike. This is home now.
This is home. This is family.
And we're going to talk communication. You brought along a student.
I did. One of my best and brightest. Madison Farrell.
Madison Farrell joins us, a U-Pike student, a rising senior at the University of Pikeville, getting ready to graduate. Madison, tell us a little about yourself. Tell us where you come from, your background.
So I'm just from Belfry, and I've been at U-Pike my entire higher education, and like you said, I'm a communications major, and I'm also an art minor. So,
what's your favorite art media?
Art media, I've really been getting into sculpture and clay and stuff like that. Yeah.
And from Belfry.
Yes.
Part of the Pond Creek Nation.
Go Pirates.
Indeed. we all are very familiar with that. Chandra, communication is one of the most popular subject areas, the majors on campus. Let's get a quick overview of that program.
Okay, our communication major actually is fortunate enough to focus both on theoretical courses and practical courses. So we make sure that our students are prepared for whatever comes after graduation. If they want to go to graduate school, they have the foundation and the theoretical knowledge to be able to succeed in that area. But if they are ready to hit the ground running and start working, we prepare them to do that as well. So we have a lot of practical skills that we focus on: writing skills, oral communication skills, computer skills, video skills, and I have majors throughout Eastern Kentucky region now that I'm very proud of.
We've talked in past episodes the many different careers that communications majors have landed in, anything from law school to direct opportunities in the workforce in the media. And you've got everything in between and now scattered throughout the country. Communication major is very versatile.
Very versatile, very flexible. So I have alumni actually all over the world and all over the country, and they do anything from coaching football to working at East Kentucky Broadcasting.
Sure. And of course, they stay in touch with Chandra Massner.
They do. We have a very active alumni presence. I'm very pleased that my COM alums stay in touch with me. We do a lot through social media. We have an alumni page for our COM alums, and we let them know what's going on the Hill. We invite them to interact with our students at different events throughout the year, and I stay in touch with them. Many of them are my close friends now. Indeed. So I love my alums.
They're communications majors, of course. They're friendly with everyone.
That's right. That's what we do.
You can't be antisocial in a communications major. It doesn't work. For someone that's tuned in, perhaps a high school student that has a communications major on their mind, let's talk about the types of courses that they might encounter with a communication major?
Okay, with our major, we do an introductory course first that really introduces you to the field and the career options that are available. And then we have theory courses like interpersonal communication that really focuses on the one-on-one, mass media and society that focuses on how the media affects us. We have courses that are more practical like journalism, really working with the writing skills, desktop publishing, which introduces them to editing software, and they take digital media, which introduces them to camera work and video editing. So we try to prepare them for a wide range, and then they get to choose some electives along the way, and that can include anything from intercultural communication, which Madison was in last semester with me, public relations this fall I'm teaching, and that's a very popular course because a lot of our students are interested in a PR path when they graduate, either for a for-profit or for a nonprofit. And we have a lot of different types of courses. We're even considering, and we're hoping to offer maybe a special topics course that would focus on the ever-popular Game of Thrones show.
It is indeed. If you ever offer the Walking Dead special topics course, I'm there.
Okay.
I'm there. Communications curriculum often includes special topics courses and experiential learning. You spoke of Madison and how and why she's here today. One course in particular, a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Tell us about the course that led students to explore Costa Rica.
We had a fantastic experience last year that culminated with a Costa Rica study abroad trip at the end of May. After the day after graduation, we flew out, and we had students that took communication, and then we had some students that took psychology, and the two groups went on the trip together.
Yes.
So the communication students studied intercultural communication,
Right.
and the psychology students studied echo psychology, and then we met once a week during the semester, the two groups together to prepare for our trip, and then we went, all of us together, May 21st through the 29th, and we were in Costa Rica for a week and experienced a lot of different activities. And the psychology students who studied under Dr. John Howie, professor of psychology, and myself, the communication students, they blended so well. They had an outstanding experience. It was truly once in a lifetime.
And how did you collaborate with Dr. John Howie to develop the interdisciplinary course?
Well, the exciting thing is that Dr. Howie and I have a really great working relationship. Both of us have a real desire to get students out of Pike County and experiencing the world. Study abroad is very important to both of us. We've both been active with different study abroad trips in the past. He's taken students to Peru. I've taken students to Germany and Costa Rica. We've both gone to Salzburg, as Salzburg Fellows in the past. So we both have a real heart for global education and for the experiences that bring. And so we worked very well together. Very well together. And the great thing about taking Dr. Howie with me is that he's fluent in Spanish.
Yes.
So he was great in country.
Instant translator.
Yes.
And he knows a couple of other languages too. I've heard him use them. Dr. John Howie, of course, psychology professor at the University of Pikeville, part of the trip to Costa Rica, and we're going to talk about that. But something you mentioned that is very important. You talk about getting students out of Pike County, getting students out of the region, perhaps getting students out of the country. Why is that so important for them?
Well, for any student, I don't care where a student studies, I think a study abroad experience is going to open their eyes to experiences that you can't teach them in the classroom. They're going to really examine themselves more and their home country more as a product of being outside the country. And they're going to appreciate a lot more about what our society and culture allows, permits, has, things that we take for granted. And it really opens their eyes to broader issues and things that they don't normally think about. It gets them out of their comfort zone, and it makes them become a citizen of the world, truly. Several of the students that I've taken in the past get that bug, and they want to go on another trip. And they want to experience all that the world has to offer.
Sure.
For our students in Eastern Kentucky and at Pike, I think that it's really important because a number of students that I've taken on these trips are from this region. Some have been, from out of state or other places, but a number of them are from this region, and they haven't traveled a lot. They haven't had that opportunity. For a lot of students that I take on study abroad trips, this plane ride is their first trip on a plane.
Yeah.
And they're experiencing an international trip,
Sure.
which is very exciting and nerve-wracking. But then they see they can do it, and they can do anything.
It opens
then
the world.
The whole world is open to them, and they realize I can travel. I can see all these things I've read about,
Sure.
and I've heard about, and it just opens them up more.
Experiential learning, a very important part of a college education. You're tuned to Where the 99 Lead, a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville. Chandra Massner, Associate Professor of Communication, as we've been speaking about the communication major at the University of Pikeville. Now we get to talk to one of the students. We find out the student's perspective on perhaps a study abroad program. Madison Farrell, a UPike senior, joins us now. You're coming off the trip to Costa Rica. How did that experience live up to your expectations?
I think that it exceeded any expectation that I had for it. Naturally, you're going to have like these high expectations, and honestly, I just wanted to be able to learn something about the culture, maybe meet people, like network, and I would have never dreamed that I would have like built these relationships with people, like met friends, like
Sure.
not just the people that I was with on the trip, but locals, like doing zip lining, like 600 feet in the air above the rainforest. That gave me confidence. You talk to the tour guide, you learn how they make a living, as in tourism. Like that was just something unbelievable.
And of course, Costa Rica is a long way from Belfry.
Yeah.
It's a long way from the UPike campus as well. Is this your first trip internationally?
Yeah, it was, and I'm very grateful that I got to go with UPike. It was a nice way to travel outside of the country with friends.
How nervous were you?
Not very.
You were prepared.
Nope. I've been on a plane ride before, so
Okay.
that helped a little bit.
Very good, very good. What were your biggest takeaways from your time in Costa Rica? You mentioned talking to the locals and
Yeah.
and learning
Yeah.
what they're doing, but helping you going forward in your studies. What were your biggest takeaways?
I think it gave me confidence. It taught me to be brave and to recognize opportunities, to accept opportunities. So I think that can help me in the future, because I want to say yes to traveling more, to, learning different things. And learning about that culture helped me learn about our culture here. So that helped me recognize some things.
You're a senior. You're preparing for
Yeah.
graduation. Now
Yes.
you've traveled internationally. It opens up a new world of possibilities.
Yeah, definitely.
For Madison Farrell, experiential learning. Possibly you're going to land in the tourism industry in Costa
I would
Rica.
love that. Maybe even here.
Yeah, very good. Chandra, study abroad. We hear from Madison, we hear from students from time to time that have been on these type of studies, these study abroad programs. How does study abroad add to the student experience?
Well, very few students in the United States actually take the time and effort to study abroad. It's a very small percentage. So if you have that on your resume, it's going to differentiate you from other people who haven't had those experiences. So it's actually going to show an employer that you have a diverse skills set that other students do not have. So it's going to be great when it comes time to graduate and actually show yourself to an employer that you're comfortable in different settings, and with the fact that we live in a global economy now and the world certainly is more flat, it makes you a better employer or employee for an employer to want to hire.
Sure.
So it's a great experience to have, and then personally develop. When students go abroad, one of the things that I have always done when I take students on a trip is make sure that I take them to an elementary school where we are. And that experience, I think, really opens their minds, and they really see how other people view Americans, and then they see what it's really truly like to grow up in another place. And that experience usually affects them the most, seeing the children and having that interaction. And I think that happened again this time. We went to a small private school in Costa Rica, a local school, and the children were small, and they were so pleased to have us there. And then our kids, my students, even though they're adults, they're still kids to me, our kids playing with their children.
Yeah.
It was just heartwarming.
Yeah.
It was really great.
You've been a part of many study abroad programs, and you see students like Madison who return with a great deal of confidence. You're not surprised at all by that?
No, and especially not this trip. Like she said, we zip-lined over the rainforest. We went whitewater rafting,
yep.
and those were class 4 rapids.
Yeah.
They were for real.
Yeah.
We did hikes in the rainforest.
Hanging bridges.
Yeah, hanging bridges.
We conquered the fear of heights,
Yes.
honestly.
Definitely. We saw one of the volcanoes fairly up close, Volcano Arenal. We went to the beach. We saw a lot of wildlife. So they're doing things that are not the norm here. And when they do them and they see themselves do them, then they feel like, wow, I can do anything. If I can zip over this rainforest and go down this rapid, I can do anything in my life.
Sure.
So the confidence building, I think, comes from the experience.
Yeah, definitely.
And they bring those experiences back to campus and to the community as well, ready to share those. Madison, when you got home, what were you most excited to tell your family and friends? Let's have the Madison Farrell. I just got back from Costa Rica. I'm going to tell you everything I did. Where do you start?
Where do I start? I think the thing that I was most intrigued to tell my parents and my family was just about the sustainability of that country. That was so interesting to me, how they value what they have, how they try to reuse as much as possible, minimize their waste. And that was just something I enjoyed, learning about on a pineapple plantation, what goes in, that's just something that you don't even know you want to learn about until you're there, learning about it, eating fresh pineapple. That was something that I just really enjoyed about that part.
Very good. A little different than what we're used to here, but what were some surprises along the way for you?
Some surprises? I think that it was surprising talking to people as English was their second language, but building friendships with them. I don't know Spanish, but we were still being able to communicate. There was still that friendship there, and I think that was interesting too.
And you got to eat fresh pineapple right out of the field.
Yes.
How good was that?
It was amazing, unbelievable.
Yeah.
He just took the machete, and
Yep.
his name is Danny, our tour guide is there, and he just right on the field and in the field.
Yep.
We eat it.
It was great.
And the coffee plantation too.
Yeah.
For the coffee drinkers. We learned a great deal about coffee.
Okay. Pineapple, I wasn't so jealous. Now I am.
Yes, yes.
Real deal coffee right there. I would imagine it's crazy. Chandra, what do you tell students and parents that are concerned about safety issues for students that are studying abroad? I know this is something that many parents, and to a certain extent, there is a concern, a raised concern, just because of the way the world is these days. But what do you tell students and parents that have those concerns?
Well, we always make sure that we are maintaining safety guidelines on these trips. So we're not going to take a student somewhere that's on the State Department's watch list
Sure.
or warning list at all. So there's certain places that we would not take a student. Having said that, though, I mean, anything can happen anywhere, any
Sure.
day. Across this country or around the globe. So those concerns are real. And so having adequate faculty there in case something happens and being prepared in the event that something happens. I think that the most negative thing that's happened on a UPike trip was the group that went to Haiti this year. When they came back in January, they were at the airport where there was a shooting. And Rob Music, who led that trip, our chaplain on campus, immediately went into mode of helping and was definitely a leader in that situation. So on one side, we take every safety precaution and we do best practices that we can. And on the other side, you've got to be flexible and you've got to be prepared for any situation. Mm-hmm. But these things happen in our country. These things can happen in our town, So unfortunately, the world is not predictable enough for us to know what's going to happen tomorrow. So, I mean, you could be in a car accident any time, any day. So I don't think you want to shelter yourself from experiences out of fear, but you do want to be prudent.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Madison, what will you say to fellow students who are considering study abroad?
Go for it. Definitely go for it.
It's expensive.
But there's so many ways that you can get help with that. Like, I thought it was expensive, but the university helps you. Like, there's faculty, there's ways to get help with that.
Sure.
And all you have to do is just talk to your advisor about that. Get connected with the people that can help you with that.
Every student at the University of Pikeville should participate in study abroad.
Definitely, something.
It should be a requirement for graduation.
Somewhere.
Yes.
I just got an amen out of the corner over here.
Amen. Preach. Preach.
But there's that much value to the program. Madison, would you say that it's as big a part of your college education as any course you've had?
Definitely. I think I've had more changes for me on this trip. Like, I've just had more clarification, especially like seeing what I want to do with my life and everything like that. Yeah.
Very good. I saw your agreement.
Absolutely.
It's one of the most important things a student can do. Being in a lecture, even being in an experiential course type setting, there's nothing in comparison to 10 days spent studying abroad.
It's going to completely change your world outlook, and it's going to develop you further as a person, and that's what we're here to do. Yeah, we're an educational institution, and yes, I want to educate my students, but I want them to grow more than just learn material from a book. I want them to grow as people. I want them to be better when they graduate and walk across that stage than when they came in.
Right.
And I think that this experience helps them to get there.
What's next for the communication program at UPike?
Well, we will be starting classes soon.
Yes.
And we will once again be doing our communication week next April.
Yes.
So that'll be the week of April 9th. We also will be welcoming home alumni for our annual alumni panel in October during homecoming, and that's going to be the morning of October 28th.
Very good.
And Rachel Little, instructor of communication, is making sure that our speech team is going to grow and go to more events this year. Yeah. So that's happening. And then, as I mentioned earlier, she and I are exploring the possibility of team teaching a course that would be centered on the Game of Thrones and possibly the women's role in the Game of Thrones. So that's going to be exciting, and we hope to do that in the spring. So it's going to be another great year on the Hill. We're excited. We've got great seniors that we will be trying to prepare for their next stage. And hopefully we've got incoming freshmen in that are going to be fun to get to know.
How fun is it as a professor to see those freshmen come in?
It is so much fun. Last week I did a growl session.
Yeah.
And I met 2 incoming students that are coming from out of state and going to major in the program. And it was just so much fun because these were new faces, and I'm looking forward to developing the relationships in the future with them that I have with the students that I have now. It's always sad. May is like the worst because the students are so excited because they finally are graduating. They're so excited. And it's like, what am I going to do without you next year? So I always have those moments, and we lost some really good seniors last year, so
Sure.
it'll be kind of missing some people on the hill when we go back to classes. But the new faces are always fun, making those new friendships and relationships with the students. And that's why I love Pike, because it's small enough that I can do that.
Madison Farrell, a rising senior at the University of Pikeville, our guest as well, a communications student, fresh from Costa Rica. You're coming upon your senior year. Last year on the Hill, what are you most looking forward to?
I think something that I'm most looking forward to is after graduation, I think I want to travel more and be able to just have more experiences like I did in Costa Rica. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah. And after graduation, do you have any idea what you want to do in your future?
With a communication degree, anything's possible. So,
truly is.
yeah.
It truly is. Madison Farrell, thanks for being with us. Good luck in your future and your senior year.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here. Chandra Massner, as always, great to have you here. And of course, we always talk about this, and I've noticed that among professors it changes sometimes. We ask the question, favorite course to teach?
That's really hard for me because I love everything that I teach and that I get to teach.
Oh, come on.
But
There's not been a class that you were like, why did I sign up for this?
no, not so
Hanging
far.
out with John Howey.
I love what I do. So I love what I do, which makes work not work.
Right.
It's joyful.
Yeah.
I get to do what I love. But probably for me, journalism and layout and design are my favorites. And those 2 courses put together the bare facts every week.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trained as a journalist, and so that's near and dear to my heart.
Right.
And I love to watch students grow in the process of becoming better writers.
Asking a professor to list their favorite course is like asking a parent to list their favorite child.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they won't do it. They're all different, but you love them all the same. Chandra, thanks for being with us. Chandra Massner, Associate Professor of Communication at the University of Pike. We'll look forward to having you back, especially we want to talk about Game of Thrones again and what's going on with the communications major. And Madison Farrell, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
You've been tuned to Where the 99 Lead, a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville, the leading university of Central Appalachia. Thanks for tuning in.